you are here because you think you have a lead problem. Either you're not getting enough leads or the quality of your leads is very low. Because of this, you spend more on marketing. And when you spend more, you're just losing money. It's frustrating for you as a clinic owner. You're running the ads, you're getting the form fills, you're getting the phone calls, all those things are working, but you're still not getting paying patients. I work with clinics all the time, and after we set up their marketing and start generating the leads, when I find out that some of those leads or most of those leads are not converting, I have a sit down with the clinic owner and try to figure out their internal operations. Because most of the time, it's not a lead problem, it's a pipeline problem. What I mean by a pipeline is a sales pipeline. Essentially, it is a series of steps that potential customers go through in order to close that deal, or in this case, acquire that patient. So today I'm going to go over how you should be setting up your sales pipeline to make sure that every single lead has a path that they can follow all the way to treatment. You're going to need a really good front desk person who is accountable for their actions and can stay on top of these different stages depending on where that prospect is. Also, if you run a clinic, I make videos like this every week to help you understand your marketing and sales process so you can optimize your patient acquisition. So let's dive right into it. So when I talk about pipeline, it's a sales pipeline on how an initial prospect goes from that inquiry stage all the way to starting a treatment. A broken pipeline is what I see most of the time. By this, I mean they don't have those stages set up and they spend more money on marketing, but because those internal stages aren't set up to make sure that inquiry follows through with the stages in order to turn them into a paying patient, clinics get frustrated with marketing companies. When you have these stages set up, preferably through a CRM system, not an Excel spreadsheet, your front desk can see where every single prospect is and when they need to follow up with them. Because when you fix that pipeline, you can have the same amount of traffic, but those leads that are coming in are going to be converting at a lot higher rate because you fix those stages. And once you have those stages optimized, you're going to be able to optimize your sales process, give the necessary training to your front desk to make sure your revenue is growing consistently. The main thing I would like you to take away from this is to fix your internal pipeline processes or your sales processes before you invest heavily into marketing. So these are the essential 7 steps that your clinic needs to implement in order to build a robust sales process. When an inquiry comes in, you have 3 stages: contacted attempt 1, contacted attempt 2, and contacted attempt 3. This is because people don't always pick up a first time, but you want to make sure that your front desk is reaching out to them as soon as that inquiry comes in. Once they do, they can put them in the contacted attempt 1 stage. The other thing is that the front desk also will know how and when to follow up with these people. Because if there's a whole bunch of people in contact attempted 1, they know they have some calls to make that day. Then they move to these different stages, attempt 2, attempt 3. Usually by attempt 3, the lead is not interested or it wasn't a great lead to begin with. The best thing that you can train your front desk on is to get them to schedule a consultation with a professional in your clinic. Even better than that is if you train your front desk person to be very educated on the different services that you can offer, so that when that consult actually gets booked, you have a higher chance of converting them into a patient. That's the next stage. Consult booked. Ring, the lead picks up. Hey, thank you so much for reaching XYZ Clinic. This is Laukik speaking. I would love to get more information about you. Okay, great. Let's schedule you in for a consult. A consultation is booked. Now, when that consultation is booked, you should have 3 automations going out. The first one is an SMS reminder and a thank you for confirming the appointment. An email should be going out. And finally, an SMS reminder. Again, if you have a really good CRM system, I highly prefer Go High Level. They should be able to do this for you, but you need to set up these automations so that you get people to show up to these consults. But sometimes people get busy, right? So they don't show up, or maybe they're not interested anymore and they don't want to get on a call with you. So you can always move them into the consult no-show. But we don't want to lose them there. Maybe life got in the way and maybe they are interested. So what we want to do is we want to set up automations that are in the back end You can send them testimonials. You can send them case studies. You can send them more information on the service that you are providing. We're going to go through all these in a little bit more detail. Waiting for decision. Great. So they've had the consult. Now they're just waiting for, let's see, maybe my insurance has to cover it. I got to check with them. I got to ask my wife. I'm actually traveling. I have to figure out my schedule. All these things come up and they're normal. But when they're in that column, you don't want to lose them. Again, you want to set up another set of automations in order to stay in front of them and keep reminding them that they were initially interested in this treatment. And finally, treatment started. Hooray, your front desk has been able to move your inquiry through all of these stages, and now you have a paying patient. So let's dive into this a little bit more in detail. Stage one, the first 3 contacts. Now, why 3 attempts? Because most people don't respond on the first try. Sometimes you call them when they're at work, they might not pick up because they don't know the number. But you call them a couple of times, they become familiar with the number that they see on their caller ID. And because of that persistence, they pick up just to see what things are about. This can be alleviated if you set up an SMS that goes out to the inquiry right after they submit an inquiry. Because that way, they know that you'll be calling them within the next 2 hours or 24 hours or however long you have to reach out to them. We noticed that 40 to 50% of bookings happen after contact 2 and 3, which is fine. Attempt 1 is crucial because let's say someone inquires on your website, you send them an SMS within 30 seconds. Hey, thank you so much for your inquiry at XYZ Clinic. Someone will be reaching out to you shortly. And then Susan from front desk, 5 minutes later, picks up the phone, calls this inquiry, and is educating them about the service, the treatment, the pricing, the commitment, all these kinds of things. And she's able to book them in for a consult. That is exactly what we want. So stage 4, consult booked. So essentially they're like, yes, we are interested in the service. I would like to book a consultation and see if this is the right fit for me. This is a really good sign, but it's not really done yet because like I mentioned before, you need a confirmation email that goes out, a text reminder that goes out 24 hours before the appointment, and a final reminder a few hours before, or if you really want them to get on the call, then you want to send a reminder maybe half an hour beforehand, because that's really going to increase the likeliness of them showing up or reaching back out to you and saying, hey, I actually can't make it at this time. Can we reschedule? And if you have some pre-consultation materials that you can send them, maybe like information, next steps, forms that you need filled out, that's great. You can send them over, but make sure that you are giving them enough reminders and enough time for them to actually come to that consultation. If you can keep them engaged, you are able to reduce no-shows by 75%. No-shows is where I see a lot of clinics lacking in effort. Just because they didn't show up to an appointment or a consult, life gets in the way. They're human, they have things going on. You should not just mark them as no-show. You should actually have some sort of automation going out. The system that you should have in place, and this works really well for our clinics, is texting them immediately after they miss an appointment. Hey, we noticed that you weren't able to make it to today's appointment. Would you like to reschedule? And then you want to send them over the link. And this way you're not pressuring them. You understand that life gets in the way, things are happening. So you give them an alternative to reschedule at a time that would be a little bit more convenient for them. And when you have this system in place, our clients show a 30 to 40% in recovering these no-shows. So remember, no-shows does not mean that they're not interested. It just means that they're busy. Life happens. This stage is very important. A lot of our clinics have people in this waiting for decision stage. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Most of the clinics that we work with offer a very high ticket treatment, TMS, neurofeedback, Almated, things like that, right? They're in like the $2,000 to $10,000 range. So people have to figure out, hey, how am I going to be able to pay for this? Does my insurance cover it? Do I have other life expenses that are coming my way? That being said, because they're in the waiting for decision phase, you want to give them information to help them move through that decision. Not in a pushy way, but more in an educational way. So usually what you want to have set up is after the consultation, you want to send them a package of what you talked about and what the next step should be. Then in a couple of days, you want to share a success story or a testimonial, because this is going to help solidify the reason why they're looking for that treatment. A couple days after that, you want to talk about common objections that they have. And this could be, it's too much money. Maybe you have a finance plan you can offer them. But it's too much of a time commitment. Maybe you can figure out a way to work around their schedule. And finally, day 7, you want to have another check-in, ideally through a call. Just say, hey, I know you were thinking about this. Just wanted to see if you got the information that we sent over. Do you need any additional information to help with your decision? At that point, you can figure out what's going on there. And please make sure that you have trained your front desk staff to take notes on all of these inquiries that are coming in, because that's going to really help you figure out what are these conversations that are happening. Are they actually bad leads? Are they concerned about the pricing? Like, when you start doing this, you get a data set of all the things people talk about, and you can refine your business model and your sales processes to adhere to some of that feedback that you're getting from these inquiries. Stage 7, the final stage, treatment started. This is going to make you super happy as a clinic owner, right? They said yes, they completed the intake, and the first session is done. Now it's just really about retention. This is where making sure that you or your practitioners are very educated in telling them about the next steps and helping them see the transformation of the treatment in the long term once they go through this process, because that's what's going to allow them to stay motivated and committed to coming back for the next sessions. So these 7 stages that I showed you are what happens after that inquiry comes in. If you build out this system specifically, I guarantee you that you will be converting more of your inquiries into paying patients. So let me talk to you about this TMS clinic that we're working with. They were spending $2,500 on ads, getting about 30 to 40 inquiries a month, which is great, but they only had 1 to 3 new patient starts every month. The clinic owner came to me and she's like, hey, listen, like, nothing's happening with our TMS side. Like, it's very slow. Why is that happening? So I'm like, well, we got 30, 40 inquiries last month. What happened with those? She's like, I don't know. Like, the TMS technician, he's just not busy. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, okay, who is handling these inquiries that come in? She's like, oh, this lady's handling it. I'm like, all right, let me get on a call with her. Let me try to figure out what's happening in that sales process. So I get on a call with this lady and ask her, like, a lot of inquiries came in last month. Can you tell me why they're not moving forward? She tells me, and this is where I was like, whoa. She tells me that when an inquiry comes in, she sends them a brochure. And that brochure is 20 pages long. Now, when you are providing a service that's $5,000 to $10,000, people want to talk to someone who is credible about that service. They do not want to go through a 20-page brochure. So I told her, don't send them the email. Call them. As soon as that notification comes into your email inbox, call them. She's like, okay, I can do that. I'm like, but listen, if you have to send them the brochure, that's fine, but send them that information after the call. We fixed that. Now we were getting bookings. The technician who was taking the consultations was not really trained on sales, so he had no way of talking about the transformation. He was only focused on the technical details of what this TMS machine can do for them. People didn't understand the true value. They didn't understand the transformation that this TMS system offers them. They didn't have any motivation to go forward with these 2-3 month treatments. We fixed that. We talked to him about, hey, listen, we got to sell them the transformation. We're not talking about technical details because no one cares about that. After we fixed those, in 2 months, we had the same ad spend, the same amount of inquiries, but we got 10 to 12 new patients every month. That's almost a 3x in revenue. It's not about the leads. It's about how you are interacting with those leads. That being said, I know you are going to get some bad inquiries, but you still have to practice the process of turning every single inquiry that comes in into a paying patient. These are the 5 pipeline killers, and if clinics don't have these in place, you are going to be struggling. Truth be told, this is how my job has evolved. Focusing on marketing is one thing, but then helping clinics actually fix their internal operations to turn those inquiries into paying patients, that's where a lot of my time goes. Put a CRM in place. Go High Level is one of the best ones that you can have. It has all the SMSs. Your front desk can even reach out to people via DMs. It allows you to track that pipeline. Have more contact stages in place. Just because someone didn't pick up the first time does not mean that they're not interested. Maybe you just caught them at a bad time. Post-consultation follow-up. Yes, they're interested. Everything looks great. They're waiting for a decision. Don't let them try to make the decision on their own. Supplement them with information that helps them make that decision, because it's going to increase the trust that you have and take a lot of weight off of them. And because you've supported them through that decision-making process, they are going to trust you. I think the biggest thing is just having those stages set up that you can track visually. Because as a business owner, you need to understand where people are getting stuck. For example, if you find that a lot of people are getting stuck in the contact stages, it could be the follow-ups and when your front desk does those. The second thing is, are they submitting the right type of information? Have you asked them for their work email or their personal email? Have you asked them for their work phone or their home phone? Another example, if they get stuck in the waiting for decision phase, what are the conversations that were had in the consultation that you need to bring to light and inform them about how to make that decision? So this part here involves some math. As a business owner, you're tracking your revenue, but we need to focus on sales numbers as well. So these are the 4 things that you should be tracking to see where there is a leak in the pipeline. How many inquiries have been successfully contacted? For example, you get 10 inquiries, only 5 have been contacted. That's a 50% rate. Now, contacted to consult booked. Let's say you have those 5 inquiries that have been contacted and only 2 of them booked a consult. That's a 40% contacted to consult. How many booked and showed up? Let's say 1 of them showed up. That's a 50% show rate. And if that person who showed up turns out to start the treatment, that's 100%. Now, these are very inflated numbers, but it should give you an idea of how to approach this, because if you find that these percentages are low in certain stages, fix those first, and then you can continue to building the pipeline. So if your contact rate is low, your contact process is broken. If your booking rate is low, your outreach messaging is broken. A high no-show rate means you don't have reminders going out to remind them that they have an appointment with you. Fixing the biggest leak first when you run these numbers is going to make sure that you have the highest leverage in terms of building up that revenue. To summarize, the first thing you need to do before spending more money on marketing to generate leads is to fix your sales pipeline processes. If you put these 7 stages in place, hand it over to your front desk, give them a little bit of training on how to move through this process, I guarantee you will recoup a lot of the revenue that you have left on the table. Because you've already paid for their attention. They've already raised their hands and said, hey, I'm interested in what you're offering. So the hard part is already done. And here's the thing, getting a new lead is a lot more expensive than nurturing the one that already exists within your database. And if you refine this, I guarantee you that you will at least 5x your revenue and your profits. Again, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I create videos every single week to help clinic owners optimize their sales and marketing pipelines in order to make sure that their patient acquisition systems are on point. I'll see you on the next one.